Terminal spotted. Upload me and prepare to defend. I'm in, Tenno. This will take a moment. Multiple biosignatures detected. We've got infested incoming.
Controversial opinion coming in thick and fast. Yes, the Paris Prime is the strongest weapon in the game. Now granted, I do have a massive bias towards the Paris Prime, but I'm right. We're here in a simulacrum with mag. So I'll just quickly demonstrate in a controlled environment how you use the Paris Prime Incarnon, as well as pretty much I think all other Incarnons except for the melee Incarnons. So in order to actually get the Incarnon mode to show up, we need headshots. Like so. The killing part is optional, but you only need headshots. And then you just use your alternate fire. And even on the Paris Prime, you can see that an extra bit of geometry has been applied to the Paris Prime. And that is when you know, alongside your crosshair being just a little bit different, that you now have the Incarnon mode active. And the Paris Prime's Incarnon mode, it's a big ass wave. Like so. Now the thing about the Paris Prime is that it actually synergizes really well with mag. That's right. My favorite weapon in the game also happens to synergize really well with my favorite WarFrame in the game. So, if we were to just put these 20 Dr. Heavy Gunners inside a magnetized bubble, like so, and you can also pop the bubble, like so. There is another thing that is really cool about the Paris Prime and mag. It continues, because what you can do is you put these guys in a magnetized bubble, and we kill them. You stand inside the magnetized bubble, you pull everyone else inside the magnetized bubble, like so. It continues. So, now let's have a look at the various options that you can choose with the Paris Prime Incarnon. I'll give you my thoughts on each one of them. We're here with Cavallero. So, in order to unlock the Paris Incarnon, and I believe this is the same whether you're using it for the Paris Prime, Mark 1, or regular Paris, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to need a bunch of the stuff that you get from defeating Aura Worms. You're also going to need some Rune Marrow, about 60 for the Paris Prime at least, and you're also going to need a bunch of the sunflowers, I don't quite remember what they're called, but you basically need a bunch of sunflowers from Duviri as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the options that we have available for the Paris Prime. We'll start off with Evolution number 1. Literally giving you Incarnate form. Woohoo! Evolution number 2. So we have two options here. Guardian's Might. Increases your damage by 20. What the hell does that even mean? When you have Overshield, you increase your damage by 74. What the hell does that even mean? We were looking at this on stream, and I'm not entirely sure what that means myself, because when we picked it, my base damage actually went up by a whole lot more than just 20, and that was looking at like an unbuilt Paris Prime. So I really don't understand what this 20 means, but essentially what this should mean is that you're doing more damage, and if you'll do even more damage if you happen to have overshields. The alternative is Deadly Pace. Increase damage by 20 with sprint speed 1.2 or higher. So if you're using something like the Rush mod, for example, you get 80% fire rate. So that's actually pretty nice. If you're definitely using someone who's going to be running around a lot, like Goss or Vault, I would highly recommend going for Deadly Pace. As a mag main, naturally, I would be sticking with Guardian's Might. If you're using a Warframe that has no way of producing overshields, you should probably go for Deadly Pace, because there's a much more universal chance that you can get a sprint speed higher than 1.2. Whereas in order to get overshields, well, you could use the Augur mods, I think, but generally speaking, warframes that can't get overshields, they're not really going to get overshields without some friends for the most part. So I would probably recommend Deadly Pace just a little bit more over Guardian's Might. And now we go for the third evolution. So I've chosen Swift Deliverance, 60% projectile flight speed. Honestly, with the third evolutions, they're all more or less about as equally useful as each other. So I picked the one that I feel like is the best out of the three, but it's not really a huge deal. The alternatives include Marksman's Focus, minus 30% zoom. That's basically less zoom because a lot of people don't particularly like zoom. They prefer to not actually be seeing less on their screen in terms of like the number of enemies on the screen. They more prefer to just be seeing more people on the screen. So this one is for you if you want to go for that. It's entirely up to you. Otherwise, you have Ardent Trigger. On punch through hit, plus 40% fire rate for 6 seconds. Honestly, this one might actually be better. I might give this a try myself. But honestly, projectile flight speed or punch through, fire rate, I think they're both more or less equal in terms of their usefulness. And finally, we have the fourth evolution, also known as the Giga Chat evolution for pretty much every single weapon, I think. I've chosen Striking Succession. On hit, increased damage by 15 for 3 seconds, stacks up to 4 times. I don't think there's a cooldown on it. I wouldn't know because I'm not really paying attention to the numbers. So assuming there's no cooldown, obviously this is fantastic for back. You do only have a 3-second duration though, so keep firing and keep hitting is all I'll say. Otherwise, you have this one, Elemental Balance, increased status chance by 60%. Now, you may be thinking, wait, hold on. Status chance on the Paris Prime? That doesn't sound too useful, does it? There is a use for this particular one. The Paris Prime has a mod that is unique to it called Visage Bal. Visage Bal gives you some healing every 3 status effects that the Paris Prime produces. Naturally, more status chance means more status effects, which means more healing. So, you can actually use Elemental Balance to really supercharge Visage Bal. Is that a good idea? Yes. So you can choose to do that if you want. And finally we have Vicious Promise. Increased critical chance by 40% on undamaged enemies. I believe this might be base critical chance, but it doesn't reflect in the stats, so I don't know. Increased critical damage by 2 times on undamaged enemies. The reason why I personally am not picking this one is because I use Mag. Mag's third ability, Mag's second ability, Mag's abilities, they all do just some damage. Some of them do a little bit of damage, some of them do a pretty decent amount of damage, but the main thing is they're all doing some damage. And generally speaking, my playstyle is abilities and then I start using my weapon. Because I'm using my abilities before I use my weapon, enemies are usually damaged, even if slightly, which basically means that Vicious Promise is not something that I can use. Me personally. If you're someone who more prefers to just play like a gun game and doesn't really care about abilities, or if you're an Inaris main, then Vicious Promise is probably stronger in general than Striking Succession. So that's pretty much it. Let me just think about all of this in the comments below. How do you feel about the Paris Prime Incarnon? Let me know in the comments, did you get it? Or did you actually go for a different Incarnon during the first week? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, this week, we have some other Incarnons available to choose from. I've chosen the Bow Incarnon, the Bow Stick Incarnon, because that's a weapon I haven't used in a while. It would be nice to be able to use the Bow Prime again at some point in the future, but anyway, let me know what you think about all of the other Incarnons that you have in the comments below. Which one is tickling your fancy? Let me know in the comments. As always, I'm still maintaining that the Paris Prime is the best. Oh, speaking of the Paris Prime, for those who are wondering, of course my Paris Prime is really strong. So this is the build that I have on my Paris Prime. Galv Scope, Galv Chamber, Paris Akrikata. So naturally this is a very, unrelatable build. Prime Shred, Affected Clip, Prime Cryo Rounds. I mean, the reason why I didn't really choose the fire rate Incarnon was because I was already using Prime Shred. I figured, no need to double dip, but now that I think about it, why not? And yeah, Point Strike Vital Sense, that should make a lot of sense as well. Visage Bal is what I was talking about with regards to the status effects. Now, if we were to use a much more relatable build, like this, Amalgam Serration or Serration, Split Shaper, Viral Damage, Fire Rate, more damage, why not? Point Strike, Vital Sense. Alright, what kind of damage can we do? Let's find out. Against the same Corrupted Heavy Gunners. So you can basically two-shot these guys. And I'm not even using corrosive damage or stripping armor. Maybe this is a demonstration of how powerful galvanized mods are. Like so. And naturally inside a magnetized bubble, it looks like this. Like so. So, that's pretty much it. One thing I forgot to mention is that the Incarnon mode of the Paris Prime, as well as the other Parises, it actually comes with innate heat damage, which means you're actually stripping armor with the heat damage. The heat procs actually help. So, having that extra status chance can also be very, very useful for that regard, because applying heat does actually strip 50% of a target's armor, so you can use that to your advantage. Aside from that, it's really, really strong. So, it is the strongest weapon in the game. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more WarFrame content. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!